Did Manchester United make the correct decision by selling Scott McTominay, Jadon Sancho and David De Gea? Now, each one of these players left under Erik ten Hag's regime, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my personal opinion on should these players have left Manchester United, yes or no. But anyway, let's get right into the video. But before we get into today's video, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you are new, and comment down below your opinions on these players and should have Manchester United let them go. But anyway, enough talk, let's get right into the video. So first of all, we'll talk about the most controversial one, which is Jadon Sancho, because you look what he's gone on and done for Chelsea since he's arrived at the club, and he looks like the player that United bought from Dortmund. And that patch he had while he was at Manchester United for the 3 years he was here were unsuccessful. Let's be honest, he had a few decent moments. Obviously, the Liverpool one completely stands out, where he made Van Dijk look like he was doing karaoke and sent James Milner to Tesco's. But apart from that, Jadon Sancho doesn't really have any standout moments for the price tag we paid for him, which was around 70 to 80 million. It was a ridiculously high fee. And you know what? When that fee was agreed with Borussia Dortmund for Jadon Sancho's signature, you know what? You look at that and you'd be like, you know what? He's a young upcoming winger, one of the best in the Nationals department almost, and he's a very exciting player and he might do really well at Manchester United. This was under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last season as United manager. And you look at Jadon Sancho and how he tried to adapt at Manchester United, and you look at the front line Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was using. We just signed Ronaldo, we still had Mason Greenwood, we had Rashford and we had Martial. Jadon Sancho came in, and I feel like that after the pursuit of chasing Jadon Sancho for so long, it was a deal we just had to get done no matter what, and the fans were desperate for this signing to happen. But we all can admit it did not work for Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. But you look at what he's done for Chelsea so far. I know it's only been a few games, but like I said, he looks like the player Manchester United wanted to sign for Borussia Dortmund. Now, whether that's due to style, position, or just environment as a whole, Jadon Sancho looks like a different player when he's playing for Chelsea. He's looking direct, he's looking creative, he looks happy. And I just look at it and I'm like, whether he's a Chelsea fan growing up, or whether he's because he's from Watford or whatever it is, or maybe because he played for Manchester City and he just doesn't have the heart to play for Manchester United. There's so many rumours and conspiracy theories as why Jadon Sancho did not work at Manchester United. And I would honestly say the pressure, because Jadon Sancho is in a Chelsea team where if he gets taken out, you've got another winger that can come on. And I feel like Jadon Sancho has now established himself in that Chelsea starting 11 under Maresca. And he seems to be a very, very valuable asset for what Chelsea need in their team. You know, you've got Cole Palmer, you've got Madueke, you've got Nicholas Jackson as well. But Jadon Sancho, alongside Cole Palmer, seems to be the two creatives in that front four, where Madueke and you could say Nicholas Jackson are the more poachers of that team. Obviously, Cole Palmer knows how to score goals, but Jadon Sancho is getting these assists. So I'll quickly read over his stats for this season. And currently, Jadon Sancho has played, it is 4 games for Chelsea this season. No, it's 4, sorry. And he's pretty much got greens in every single performance he has had. So he played 45 minutes against Bournemouth, got 1 assist. He played 57 minutes against West Ham, got 1 assist. Played 71 minutes against Brighton Hove Albion and got 1 assist. And against their most recent game against Nottingham Forest, he played 89 minutes, 0 goals and 0 assists. So in 4 matches, he has got 3 assists almost. Yes, the goals aren't there at the moment, but I spoke to my friend called Charlie, you might know him, on the Blue Brothers podcast, and pretty much he has told me that Chelsea really struggle to play against a low block, and you can see that in the way they play football. But at the same time, Jadon Sancho is a creative, he's very good at link-up play, and I feel like I said, Chelsea have bought him for 25 million, and if they finish above 10th, which they definitely look like they're going to do, each position higher than 10th that they finish, or 14th, whichever one it is, you have to pay a certain amount X more to Manchester United. But I feel like it caps out at around 45 million is what I believe I read it on The Athletic. So 45 million for a player like Sancho's clear quality is definitely a price tag that Chelsea will be willing to pay. I mean, they've spent 100 million on Mudryk, so, you know, Jadon Sancho's going to like an absolute bargain towards them. But what does annoy me is the Jadon Sancho fan club. because Jadon Sancho is no longer a Manchester United player. And you look at the way he disrespected Manchester United by deleting everything on his social media. It was, for me, what did it was when he went on loan to Dortmund last season when they did the Champions League final. And I look at Jadon Sancho and I'm like, at no point do you look like you respected Manchester United, but you look at him now, he's still got his posts up from Borussia Dortmund. He's still now posting about Chelsea. And I look at it and I'm like, the Chelsea, not Chelsea, the Jadon Sancho fan club, who are still Manchester United claimed supporters, really do my head in that they're still stalking a player like Jadon Sancho when he's no longer our problem. Is it a transfer we might have got wrong? Probably, because Jadon Sancho is a very technical and quality player. But Man City sold Cole Palmer to Chelsea. And do you think Pep Guardiola's kicking himself because they sold a decent asset they didn't know was there? No, because in that Man City team, it takes a lot of quality for a player to get into that team. Obviously, Cole Palmer's clearly one of the best in the world now. For me, probably one of the best players in the actual Premier League, possibly even in the world. But you look at him and you're like, at that time, Pep Guardiola doesn't get many things wrong. And you could argue that did he get things wrong? But who's to say that Cole Palmer would have had the same impact at Man City like he did at Chelsea? Cole Palmer's undoubtedly a sheer quality type of player. But at the same time, Pep Guardiola will not be kicking himself because he let Cole Palmer go. He's got an unbelievable team. The difference between Man City and Manchester United is that United are desperate for players who are quality because we are struggling left, right and centre. So it's a lot easier to pinpoint someone like Sancho leaving Manchester United when we need the quality players because we are constantly struggling at the moment under Erik ten Hag. But for me, do I regret selling Jadon Sancho? No, I said this at the start of the video. Do I think, in my personal opinion, should Manchester United have sold these players? And this is why I want you guys in the comments to let me know that did Manchester United make a decision or the right decision by letting go of these players? So for me, we did not make a mistake getting rid of Jadon Sancho. He was not good enough for Manchester United for 3 years. And you know what? He's a Manchester United player previously. I wish him all the best of whatever club he goes to in his future. But you cannot say it from a Manchester United standpoint, he was a success at the club. And that's where I'm ending this debate. And any Sancho fans out there who still are Manchester United fans who want to claim that United made a mistake, come on the channel and we'll debate about it. Because I will stand by my guns by saying Manchester United did not make a mistake by selling Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. And I will die on my sword by saying that. Now, let's move on to Scott McTominay. Now, Scott McTominay for me is, a very controversial player in our fan base because with Scott McTominay, he has played for the club for so many years. 22 years he was at the club for. And we all know the quality he can possess. I love to describe him as the Scotsman's wrecking ball. He's such an impactful substitution. You know what you get with him. You get goals, you get creativity at times, and he's brilliant when he's running into the opposition's box and he's available for headers, for goals. That's when Scott McTominay is at his best. Playing as that deep playmaker or that number 6 is not Scott McTominay's strong points. But you look at Scott McTominay, and I'm going to read out his stats now. Where in the last, I think he's got, he's started 3 games and played 4 and played 1 domestic cup for Napoli this season. So in 5 appearances for Napoli, he's got 2 goals, is that right? Yeah, 2 goals and 1 assist. Now, he's played 3 90-minute matches and 2 cameos off the bench. Now, if I was to look at that from a Napoli fan, when you've bought Scott McTominay for, 35 million, whatever it was, that's a bargain. Now, Scott McTominay for me, you look at how crucial he was for United last season, and he was our top goal scorer at one point. Now, it's clear United aren't scoring enough goals under Erik ten Hag this season, and it happened last season as well. And Scott McTominay was massively favourable in a period of time where he was scoring goals for fun for Manchester United. And the way I look at it is that, did we make a mistake selling him? Because you look at the current midfield options, Mason Mount injured again, Ugarte is adapting to the Premier League. Casemiro is just shaky at the moment, I'll say. Eriksen's probably arguably our best midfielder. Kobe Mainoo's clearly in a rough patch at the moment. He's now currently out injured, and you can see it on his performances. He's looking knackered constantly. And Bruno Fernandes as well, his form's been awful as well. So you look at it, and you look at a player like Scott McTominay, we're lacking goals. We're lacking that powerhouse in midfield. So I think United made a mistake by selling Scott McTominay when we've brought in Ugarte. But also at the same time, Ugarte and Scott McTominay are two different complete players, where Scott McTominay is more of a driving forward midfielder who likes to crash into the box, where Ugarte is a sheer ball winner and tackler. So you look at it and you're like, okay, United needed to sell players this season and consider deadwood. I don't consider Scott McTominay as a deadwood player. I thought it was very, very impactful and useful for Manchester United, but that's an unpopular opinion, as many Manchester United fans didn't really want Scott McTominay to stay at Manchester United. But because he was a youth academy player, we sold him for X amount and it was pure profit. So from a business standpoint, you can see why. But when you look at how things have gone, now Scott McTominay's left, you kind of like, okay, we could have done a bit with Scott Scholes here. But again, you can't regret anything, in my opinion. And for me, I think we made a mistake by selling Scott McTominay. But for the same reason, we sold Scott McTominay to get a player like Ugarte, which we have been desperate for. I mean, maybe if we actually had Scott McTominay and Ugarte playing next to each other, that could actually have worked really, really well. But unfortunately, it's an impossible circumstance and we'll never know what the outcome would have been of that. But I love Scott McTominay. He's an academy player, great lad. I've never personally met him. I wish I did. But the thing is about Scott is that I just wish him all the best in Napoli. And you know what? I would not be surprised if at the end of the season we're talking about him getting like player of the season for Napoli, because we know how good Scott McTominay can be. And I feel like in a league like the Serie A, he's definitely going to thrive in that type of environment. But like I said, with the Sancho one, let me know in the comments down below on your opinions on Scott McTominay. Now, the last one is a bit of a controversial one because it's about David De Gea, a club legend, probably, for me, arguably the best goalkeeper I've ever seen in football. Obviously, I'm a young fan. I didn't get the privilege of watching Schmeichel or Prime Buffon. You know, Van der Sar I got to witness towards the end of his career, but at the same time I look at it and I'm like, David De Gea for me was special. For me, he's a club legend, and I'm very, very disappointed with the way the club let him go. But I want to talk about their most recent game against AC Milan, because David De Gea got man of the match. A 9.3 rating for a goalkeeper is incredible. And why did he get that? Because he saved 2 penalties in that game. That was prime David De Gea. That was the David De Gea of old. That was the David De Gea why Manchester United fans loved him. That's why he was player of the season for Manchester United for X amount of seasons. He was one of the best goalkeepers in the world, if not the best goalkeeper in the world, in that 2018-2019 season. He got in the Premier League, he got in the Team of the Year that season. He was absolutely incredible for world football and was seen as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And if Man United, during the period after Sir Alex Ferguson left, if David De Gea decided to leave when Sir Alex Ferguson left and we got some random other goalkeeper, you could arguably say that United would have got relegated because of how poor it was at certain times. David De Gea was a superstar at Manchester United, and I was gutted the way it ended. I was gutted that he left on a free transfer. But under Eric Ten Hag, he wanted his own goalkeeper, and De Gea, it did look ropey as that last season came to a close. You know, he was making numerous mistakes. I get why so many fans wanted a goalkeeper who can play out from the back, but you look at Andre Onana now, and he struggles to play out from the back. It's a system issue, I think, with Eric Ten Hag. And when we play the ball short, and Andre Onana's this goalkeeper that we know we can ping a long ball, but we were passing it to our centre-backs who struggle to play out from the back. That's the difference here. And you look at Onana and the mistakes he's made, David De Gea would have saved some of them, or the mistakes David De Gea would have made, Onana doesn't make. It's really hard to compare because they're two different style of goalkeepers. But for me, the disrespect on David De Gea's name, because it ended quite bitterly, where he left on a free transfer, he wasn't the prime David De Gea that we used to know, and it did seem like his time was up. Now, Onana, I'm not going to sit here saying I love Andre Onana because of the mistakes he has made, But you look at the club legend in David De Gea and you have to go to Andre Onana next. At first, you see the massive decline, but Andre Onana right now, at the time of recording, is leading the tally for Golden Glove of the Premier League. United have currently got 4 clean sheets all of a sudden. Like, I don't understand how, when we've been playing so badly, we're 14th in the league, and United have currently got a goalkeeper in Andre Onana who's leading the clean sheets record. It's absolutely ridiculous to pinpoint that, because it makes you think that United are playing really well. If you didn't look at the league table and you looked at just goalkeepers and the saves they've made, and who's got the most clean sheets, you look at Man United being on top around that area, and you're like, bloody hell, Man United must be doing well. Where are they in the table? Oh, we're 14th. Now, that's the issue, because for me, yes, United have got clean sheets, and Andre Onana has been a massive part of that. But at the same time, it doesn't justify our performances. We're not scoring enough goals, but this has got nothing to do with David De Gea or Andre Onana. So for me, it's hard to say, because De Gea was a club legend. For me, it was time to go. But at the same time, the way he left was awful. Didn't get a testimonial, didn't get a massive announcement or a service to his 12 years at the club. De Gea was a club legend for me and wasn't treated like one, which is why I got rubbed off. But it's great to see what he's doing for Fiorentina. Now, I get it. You know, I don't think they've kept a clean sheet yet, but Fiorentina aren't seen as a team that dominate the Serie A. You know, they're normally seen as that team that are in around the top half. Maybe they get top 8 or something. But as it looks right now, De Gea is just smashing it, especially against that AC Milan game. And it's great to see that our club legend is still performing at the highest peak. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below on what your thoughts are on these players, and did Manchester United make a mistake by getting rid of him? But anyway, this video has probably gone about 20 minutes long. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.